I brought you a sandwich. This is not just any sandwich. This is from Sam's, which is a restaurant we found when we first moved here to Texas, to this area of Texas. And it's an Italian restaurant, it's family owned. And Mary and I have been looking for pizzas, and which is very hard to find a good pizza place in anywhere outside the eastern seaboard. I grew up in Connecticut, so I was right next to New York and New Jersey, so we'd have great pizzas growing up. But we did find Sam's, and this is called an Italian. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And you can just see, it's absolutely beautiful. It's got all kinds of sliced meat, sliced cheese, it's got tomato, it's got lettuce to it. But what really makes it special is the sauce. It's a dressing. And I guess it's like a homemade dressing. I guess there's oil in it, tomato sauce. I don't know what's in it, but it is absolutely delicious. And we're going to have it later on tonight. I remember when I was growing up in Connecticut, one time my Aunt Mary, she was the one in the family. She was on my mother's side. And she was the one who really was adventurous with food. And she was younger than my other aunts and uncles. And she dated a lot and went to a lot of what I guess at that point you'd call fancy restaurants. And she would take me to fancy restaurants where it was all waiters, and in a lot of places they'd be in tuxedos or they'd be in matching red jackets or whatever. But one time she told me she wanted to take me one place to try La Beats, and I had no idea what that meant. And apparently it's Italian for the pie, which is what pizza was known as back then. So she described it to me, and as a kid it didn't really make sense to me. Because the pie, I always thought of like a blueberry pie or a cherry pie or an apple pie. But she was saying this has meat on it and cheese on it, and that just seemed kind of strange. So I used to think about what this La Beats was like, in the evenings leading up to when she finally did take me. I forget where she took me. There's a lot of fine Italian restaurants in Connecticut. And that's the first time I ever had a pizza, and I absolutely loved it. Years later, I left Connecticut, I drove cross country, and I moved to California, which is where I eventually met Mary. But when I first got to California, I arrived, I think it was in San Francisco, and I decided to drive down the coast just to see where I wanted to live. It was going to be in San Francisco or Santa Barbara or somewhere else. Lady, get away from there. Don't do that. That's not nice. That's my food. That's my food. You got your own food. Okay. Anyway. This is what it's like here. Constantly fighting for your food. Fighting for who's going to use the litter box next. But anyway, okay, so I was driving down the coast of California. And I started in San Francisco, down to Santa Barbara, which is where I eventually wound up, down to Los Angeles and down to San Diego. And at one point, I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So I stopped at a pizza place, a Pizza Chef or Pizza Hut or something like that. I ordered a pizza, and it was terrible. It didn't taste anything, it didn't look anything like a pizza, it didn't smell like a pizza, it didn't taste like a pizza. It was all cheese. And I seriously thought for a moment that they had served me the wrong dish, that this was some kind of Mexican dish, because I wasn't that familiar with Mexican food at the time. But it's just cheese everywhere. And at the other tables, while I was waiting for whatever this thing was, I could hear people ordering all these toppings, mushrooms and sausage and anchovies and green bell peppers and ham and pineapple slices. And I check my sandwich here. And I didn't know why they were doing it, why they would have so many toppings. It was because California pizza tastes terrible. It tastes absolutely awful. It's like invasion of the pizza snatchers or something, Like they just have pod pizzas. But anyway, in addition to making great sandwiches, Sam's also makes absolutely fantastic pizzas. And we've got one downstairs, and we're going to eat it in just a few hours. So this is Ralph Robert Moore. This is the Late Leave for April 1st, 2010. Bon appetit.